I think we pushed through the mental fatigue, a mental funk. Started with Ev. You know what I mean? That's his aggressiveness on both ends of the floor. And obviously, Zoe was phenomenal, keeping us around Dean Wade, Nae'Qwan. But it started with Ev and our aggression on both ends of the floor, getting stops and running. And then, shots are going to fall. And they finally did, but we got stops, got boards. Got defensive rebounds. And yeah.
You said the other night that it felt like a failed mental test against Toronto. Does this feel like a past one?
We've done a good job of answering the call, right? We know we address something and we figure it out, and it's not going to be perfect, but now the challenge is, one, not being here, you know what I'm saying, but two, if we are, how do we address it earlier? How is it the second quarter? How is it to start the game? Because, it's not going to be, I've told y'all, it's not going to be perfect every night. We're going to go through ruts. Guys running out the line. There's so many different things, fatigue, whatever you want to call it, but we still got to be that team, right? And fortunately tonight we were able to find it and execute it. But now then the challenge is, let's get in this first half and then let's maintain, different things. So tonight was we answered the call when needed because it was similar. We couldn't make shots. We were doing a lot of positive things, man, and just sometimes, we had a great defensive possession and Jacques Landale gets a loose ball and dunk, right? We did a lot of great things in and out, and they leak out and get a layup, right? There's so many things. Evan and I had 3 fouls in the first half, right? There's so many things, and I felt like, obviously we got the spark from Nae'Qwan, who's been unbelievable. So, but as a group, you started to see us come together and rally around each other even more, which is what these games are showing us, which is why I always tell y'all I prefer this than 15-0 because you have to find it, right? And that's what it's going to take in order to be that group.
Why do you think you guys will benefit eventually from going through this right now?
Well, I moved on from last year, but if you look at it, we were in this position, a similar position where we just couldn't make shots in the playoffs, right? And it's or we were in a situation the other day where we gave up a lead, or we had a lead, right? You're learning these things. I'm not going to say last season, regular season was easy because it was definitely tough and we want to respect our opponents, but when you win every game and you don't lose and you don't feel the loss, you don't feel what you felt after game 2, until game 2, then where do you learn from, right? So I think that's why we benefit from these scenarios, and we're going to win games and continue to play better. But I think losses to teams that you shouldn't lose to, right? Wins in Miami when we're all out and our young guys are elevating their play, and Jay has been phenomenal. Reese, we need those things because when you get to those moments, it doesn't feel foreign, and that's why I'm very optimistic with what we're doing, and we're going to be fine.
How do you characterize what you've gotten from Nae'Qwan in the last couple of games?
Every time I think I'm all right, he's going to be tired after, he just doesn't stop, right? Even, and I told him, I don't care about your mistakes. They're all aggressive. I don't care about the fouls. I don't care. The reason why he turned the ball over in the corner is because he wanted to swing it to me. That was his first intention. He's reading the game, and it's just, it's unbelievable. His motor, his energy. And every time I try to put a limit on him, I don't tell him this, but every time I put a limit, I'm oh, he's going to be tired, or he's there again, and he's there again, and he's there again. And I think we all feed off of that, and he doesn't understand how big that is for our group, and it's just great to see him continuing to elevate his play as a whole on both ends of the floor.
How does seeing that kind of intensity help you guys kind of work your way through fatigue late in games?
Like you said, it's sometimes you need to see that. Sometimes as a group you don't have it on the night, and you have a guy like that who just changes the whole dynamic. You got guys standing up cheering on the bench, you know what I'm saying? It's you're seeing, and on top of that, you see the work, right? You see him in the facility. You see him putting the work in. So it's always great for as teammates to see a guy who puts the work in every day, comes in early, does his stuff, to be able to be rewarded with his hard work, and that uplifts everybody because you're seeing, it all come to fruition.
How would you say that this team's identity is compared to last year? Is there any kind of difference to it? I know that Kenny said he didn't want to reinvent the wheel or anything like that.
Yeah, it's obviously different, but we're the same, if that makes sense. It's different because we don't have Darius Garland, Max Strus. So, we're relying on guys to do different things that necessarily last year we didn't have to do. Evan Mobley is taking a jump. We're it's all going to be different. But at the end of the day, we are a stops and run team and get threes and attack the paint. But it's different right now because we're not fully there. As a group, those guys mean a lot to us. And, there's going to be bumps in the road. There's going to be different things. And but I will say we had to get back to, we were the #1 defensive rebounding team in the playoffs, I want to say. when we had to, we were there. So we got to get back to those little things, and that's where we can improve on. And I'm not using DG and Max being as an excuse. We have a lot of talent in this room, but I think for us, just continuing to take steps and build, especially defensively. Offensively, there's gonna be things figuring all that out, but defensively, when you saw it, like we can be that, and we will continue to get better.
Evan mentioned that we've seen like spurts of this team really put it together, but haven't really done it for the same length that we were used to last year. What do you think has led to those inconsistencies?
I think, to be honest, this isn't just a youth thing. I think we got to let last year go. Like, I think we were sitting here as like, oh, last year was this. This is a whole different season. Everybody around us got better. Like, you know what I mean? It's just it's a different season. So I think we have to drop the whole, well, last year it was this. It's not the same, right? Like, you know what I mean? There's different roles, there's different things. There's guys are hurt, guys are in, guys are out. Like, there's so many different things. So for us, Evan is right. We haven't necessarily put it together, and that's on this group, right? We can't sit here and say, well, last year we did this. Well, you know, you're not the same person as last year. Like, you're not, like, it's natural. Like, things change, right? So how do we as this group find a way to find our identity? Yeah, we have things that can remain the same, defensive identity or different things like that. But as far as comparing and contrasting, I don't think we do it in the soccer, but I think as a whole, y'all, I think it's not last year. Like, we're gonna build the way we need to build, and you know, it's not pretty right now. Unfortunately, it's not, and we know that, and we're gonna work on that and get better. But the whole piece of that, and Evan's right. We gotta figure out how to do it stretch upon stretch and quarter by quarter.
What do you want the identity to be?
Well, we have to be, like I said, the biggest thing I want right now is we gotta be better on the boards, and we're doing it in spurts, like Evan said, and then defensively, you know, being more as a group. But when you are plugging and playing different lineups and different guys, like, it takes time. Like, it's 14 games in. Like, yeah, I wish we were a little bit ahead of that, but we're not, and we got to be better. And that's what tomorrow's going to be, a film session. And there's nothing to hang your head about, right? Like, I'd rather, like I always say, I'd rather go through this now. But at the end of the day, with defensively, we can be better, and that's all of us as a whole. That's guards, that's bigs, and then offensively, we'll clean those things up. And obviously, we have two catalysts to our offense who are out right now, and that's more on me, and that's more on Evan. We got to, and more on Dre and Zoe, and we got to lead that. But it'll all come together, and we just got to keep building.
Would you say this game was frustrating to play defensively, and how did you guys pull that win out based on what you were kind of allowed to do and how you were allowed to play defense?
I mean, yeah, it's tough when I think Dre and Jackson at the free throw line like 11 times in the first half, right? Like, it feels like, damn, you can't touch nobody. I commit stupid fouls, or they call a foul on Ev. Like, we know that there's so many things that can mentally take you away from your objective, right? But my biggest impression, what I'm happy with, is we've still kept just trying, kept pushing, and kept punching. They got up 12 or whatever it was, 13. We just kept going, and we kept going. And that's what I've been saying. It's like the mental, right? The mental push, and that's what we did tonight. And now the goal is when we get Milwaukee here on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day the game is, like, we got to be from the jump, you know what I mean, and just kind of hit and be ready. And if things don't necessarily go our way, if shots don't fall, we still got to continue to be a process-based team, and the results will follow.